Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from OnlinePhotographyTraining.com. Welcome to my video series, Learn Lightroom CC, also known as Lightroom in the Cloud. In this video, I want to talk about the Lightroom CC workspace a little more, how you would go about culling your images and searching for images. But before I do, I want to address something that's very important. I received a question from someone, and I probably should have mentioned this in the very first video of this series. Their concern was, since Lightroom CC is a subscription product and your images are kept in the cloud on Adobe servers, what happens if you cancel your subscription? Where do your images go? Well, Adobe has a free application. I believe it's called the Lightroom Downloader. If you cancel your subscription, you could use the Lightroom Downloader to download all the images that you have in the cloud on Adobe's servers. Now, as of the making of this video, Lightroom or Adobe gives you 1 year to get your images off their servers. So if you're a Creative Cloud subscriber and you cancel today, you would have 1 year from today to get your images off their servers. And again, there is an application they supply to do that, and I'll have a link to that application in the description below this video. Now, Lightroom CC, as I go throughout this series, I've been mentioning some of the parallels it has to Lightroom Classic CC. Well, I think many of you are probably like me, where you're really a Lightroom Classic CC user and you're really not going to use Lightroom CC quite as much, but there may be situations, maybe you're traveling, or there may be a situation where you'll need Lightroom CC. Well, there is actually kind of a direct interface between the classic version of Lightroom and the cloud version of Lightroom. So as you're looking at this now, this of course is the cloud version. This is Lightroom CC. Over here I have Lightroom Classic CC. And if you look over on the left-hand side where it says collections, you're going to see that I have a collection here that's called From Lightroom CC. And you can see that there's that is a collection set, and in that collection set there are 4 collections: Buffalo Zoo, Elevator Alley, Thin Man Sculpture, and Waterfront. Coincidentally, when you look at my Lightroom CC, you see that I have those 4 albums here: Buffalo Zoo, Elevator Alley, Thin Man Sculpture, and Waterfront. I did not create these collections in Lightroom Classic CC. They're automatically made for me when I started using Lightroom CC, and I used Lightroom CC and created these albums. So Lightroom CC syncs with Lightroom Classic CC, but you do have to log in. To log in, you go up here where it has this little Lightroom logo and your name. Click on the little downward triangle, and you can see that it says sync with Lightroom CC. That's because I'm already logged in. So click on there and there'll be an option for you to log in to your Adobe account. Log in, and then once you do, any albums or folders you create in Lightroom CC will get duplicated or mirrored as Lightroom collection sets and collections in the classic version. Now, there may be an instance where you're in Lightroom Classic CC and you want some of those images that are in Lightroom Classic CC to appear in Lightroom CC. Well, you can simply drag images from Lightroom Classic CC into any of these folders which are already there. So if I want to add images to, let's say, the waterfront the waterfront album that's in Lightroom CC, I just have to drag them into this waterfront collection that is being synced in Lightroom Classic CC. And you could tell it's being synced if you look at the far left. You could see that there's a little kind of double arrow thing there. And that's indicating that that collection is being synced with Lightroom CC. Now I could sync any collection, not just these ones that are automatically added for me when I created albums over here in Lightroom CC. For example, I created today this collection called Images, and I just called it Images for Lightroom CC. You could call it anything you'd like. And I just dragged into that collection these 5 images of small birds. So I'd like to sync these images with Lightroom CC. To do that, when you're in Lightroom Classic CC, just go to this far left area of the collection itself, and you'll see there's a little square box there. As soon as I hover on it, that little double arrow thing will appear, and it's prompting you to click to sync this collection with Lightroom CC. So simply click on it, and you'll see Sync Images for Lightroom CC. So now these images are going to be synced with Lightroom CC, and they're actually going to be stored in the cloud. They're actually going to be stored in 2 locations. They're going to stay locally on my local drive here, but they're also going to be stored in the cloud, so Lightroom CC can use them. Now, if I do any edits in Lightroom CC, those edits will get mirrored down here as well. So in my local Lightroom Classic CC, I hope that makes sense. Now, if you look up at the top, you can see it says syncing 5 photos. So it sometimes goes right away. Sometimes it takes a little while. Either way, once it's done syncing, you'll see over here, now we have this album, Images for Lightroom CC. Right now it's showing 0. But as I go through this video, you'll see that they'll eventually all come down, and you can see it has 2 already. So there's one there and one there. So we'll just keep waiting and they'll just keep coming. So I'll come back to that, but right now let's talk more about just the workspace that is Lightroom CC. Right now we're in what they call the detail view. We're looking at a single image. There is a grid view as well. There's actually 2 grid views. Hit the G key on your keyboard and you'll go to the grid view. And to better show this, I'm going to click up here where it says All Photos. So hitting the G key, it comes to this grid view, and they actually call this photo grid view, and you can see that all the images are there. If I hit the G key again though, I'll toggle to what they call the square grid view, and with this view you could more readily see if an image is picked, or if it's rejected, or if it has any star rating on it. So just hitting the G key will toggle between those 2 grid views. Now, if you want to go back and just look at that single image in the detail view, hit the D key. So G for grid, D for detail, and you'll jump between those 2 views. Well, technically 3 views, since there's 2 different views for grid view. And also you could go down here in the lower left-hand side and you could just click on these icons here and switch between all those views. Now, next to that, there's a little drop down, and that's the sort. So how do you want your images sorted? So let's go to grid view and I could better show it. You could go to either grid view, it doesn't matter. And we'll click on that little drop down, and right now they're sorted by the capture date. If I want to sort them by the import date, I could click there and you can see how they reordered by the file name, whatever. Any of these 5 different sort categories you could use, and you could reverse order as well. The one thing you cannot do a custom sort. So I can't just pick one and drag it and put it somewhere where I want it. Unfortunately, I don't know why that isn't an option. You can't do that. Now, to the right of that, we have actually kind of things where we could mark our images. And you could see that we have the flags and we have the star ratings. And let's just click on an image here, this image here. If I like this image, I could pick it. Now with Lightroom Classic CC, to pick an image or to flag it, you would hit the P key. Unfortunately, that doesn't work with Lightroom CC. You have to hit the Z key. Z is in zebra. So once I hit Z, it gets flagged. Now if you flag it by accident and you want to unflag it, hit the U key. So you're unflagging it. Now, if you want to reject it, if you have an image that's blurry and it's just a horrible image and you just want to reject it, you would hit the X key. And when you do, you could see it's flagged as rejected right there. You also could just click these icons down here. If you want to give it a star rating, you use the numeric, um, the numeral keys on your keyboard. Why was that hard for me to say? 0 through 5. 0, of course, is no stars. 5 is 5 stars. So we'll click on this. Let's say I really like it. That's 5 stars. And there. And say maybe I don't like it as much. I could give it 3 stars. If you just want to remove the stars, again, just hit the 0 key on your keyboard and it will remove all the stars. Again, you could just come down here and click on the star rating you'd like for this image. So you could go through your images and pick whether you like it by hitting the Z key. That's a pick. Pick whether you're rejecting it. You're probably going to end up deleting it. Hit the X key. Or if you don't want it to have a flag at all, just hit the right arrow key to keep going through, or hit the U key to just unpick it. Make sure there's no flag picked at all. Now, as for the image itself, how it's displaying when it's in this detail mode, you can see in the far right we have fit. We're fitting the entire image to the screen, so every pixel is being displayed. If we click fill, it will fill it horizontally, but it's probably going to cut out some pixels vertically. For example, let's pick a vertical image like this little bird here. If I click fill, it's going to fill it horizontally, but you can see how it cropped out a lot of the image vertically. So that's fit and fill. Go to a regular horizontal image. We could go 1-to-1. So you click 1-to-1 and you're going to zoom in. It didn't zoom in really straight on this one for some reason. You could also just click on the image like that. Fill. There we go. Fill, or 1-to-1. You also, if you want to zoom in, you could hit Command or Control plus and minus. It's Command if you have a Mac, Control if you have a PC. And then if you hit Command plus, because I have a Mac, you'll just keep zooming in every time you hit Command plus. You want to zoom out, you hit Command minus if you have a Mac. Of course, PC, Control minus. And just keep hitting it till you're all the way zoomed out. Now, the film strip is here. If you want the film strip to go away, you would click right here. And let's pick an image, I think like this image here that I processed just today or the other day, whatever. If you look at it and I click right here on this icon, you'll get the before after. There's the before and there's the after. You also could hit the backslash key on your keyboard. And also I should add that if you just hover over any of these little icons down here, you could see that you'll get a tooltip, they call it, and you'll usually get the keyboard shortcut for that function. So with the before after, if I hover over it long enough, you can see it shows the backslash. Now to the right of that is I. If you click on that, you'll get the info for the image, pretty much the metadata, and you could add to it. You could give it a title, a caption. See, it has my copyright info. You could add location info. If you have a camera that is has GPS built in, or you have a GPS dongle for your camera, the location in that will be added here for you. So you could do all that. It's telling you it's in this, I put it in the album Elevator Alley. So there's that. Above that are keywords. If you click there, you could add keywords to the image. And normally we would add keywords to an image to help us search for an image. With Lightroom CC, they have a new search functionality. They use something that uses a combination, I guess, of like machine learning and just algorithms that recognize things that are in the scene to help you search for an image. So basically, it's kind of smart search. For example, if I go up here and search all photos at the top, and I know I have images of birds in here, so I'm just going to write bird. All right, birds. All right, or bird. All right, so I'll write bird and hit enter. It's going to search my database and it's going to find all the images of birds. Now, if you look at like my keywords, you'll see that I have no keywords except my name, copyright in there. So there's no keywords for these images. It used, as I said, this kind of algorithms where it recognizes elements in the scene. Now, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect, as a matter of fact. I think this is kind of a work in progress. Those of you familiar with Lightroom Classic CC know that there's a plugin that I talk about called Xire Search, which pretty much does the same thing. It goes through your images in your computer, recognizes things that are in your image, like a bridge or water, or a bird or a monkey, and then it allows you to do searches, and it searches faster than this. That works much better. Xire Search works much better than Sensei Search does in Lightroom CC. That's why I think it's a work in progress. For example, I'll do bridge. And once I hit enter, you can see now it found that bridge, and it found that bridge. And this image here, it found a bridge. See the bridge over there? But then it found some images here. There are no bridges that I see, at least in these images. So I think it's not as it's not perfect. Let's put it that way. But it actually does help. I mean, it will help you narrow down your images to find what you'd like to find. Now, so we have this kind of workspace. We'll continue. We go up here. You can see this little square with the upward facing arrow. This is allowing you to save your images or share it to the web. We'll cover that once we do some processing to images. I'll talk about that more thoroughly. To the right of that, we have this little question mark. If we click there, you can see it's kind of like getting started in Lightroom CC, kind of helps you work through. So if you ever wonder like how to edit a photo, you would come here and you could click that and it will show you how to come here and edit a photo and things like that. So that is the help area. We'll close that down. Then up here, this little cloud, that's actually the syncing. So whether or not you're syncing, you noticed that before when we were syncing images in previous episodes, that little progress circle would spin there. So that would do that. Now back over the far left, we did touch upon this before. The plus sign is when you're importing images in Lightroom CC, either from a local drive, a hard drive, or whatever, or your camera or camera's memory card. Right here are our folders, and here now all 5 of those images are in this album, Images for Lightroom CC. Again, the album equivalent in Lightroom Classic CC is a collection, so it's there. Now if I drag in Lightroom Classic CC, if I drag more images into this collection, they'll get synced automatically up here. Now I could put this inside of the All Photos folder by just dragging it, putting it in there. So now it's in that folder, and eventually once it syncs, it will come up in this collection set from Lightroom CC. Whenever it gets done syncing, that's where it will go. Now, I called this folder, you may remember, All Photos, and that is kind of confusing because up here by default we have this grouping called All Photos. I can't change any of this, the names, any of these, but I could change the names of the folders and the names of the albums. So if I want to change All Photos, just right click on it and go to Rename Folder, and I'm just going to call that My Pictures, so it's not as confusing, and hit enter or return. So this is my Pictures folder, and I could fold it open and closed, and inside of that I have these 5 albums. And pretty simple. I could then create new albums by hitting the plus sign. I could just have this smaller view or the larger view with the little postage stamp view of an image that is inside each of those albums. I suppose if you get a lot of these, this might be looking a little too onerous, and you may prefer to have this smaller view like that. The check sign just means that it's synced. So we have that, and up above that, again, we have our All Photos. We have recently added. If we unfold that, you could see that I put some in here on Sunday. I did some on November 11th, September, and so on. And we could go back to those times. Like on November 7th, I put in these 6 images, something like that. So you could just go back whenever you'd like. By date, they're sorted. So in 2018, what I did? 2017, I had some in there, apparently. I don't remember, but they're not there anymore. And people, like it will recognize faces. And you may have noticed when I was in Lightroom Classic CC, I have that functionality turned off. Face detection I have paused. It seems to bog down my Lightroom Classic CC, slows everything down as it's searching for faces, and I really don't use it, so why have it on? So in that case here, it's not going to be on either. It's not going to be showing anything. Let's put it that way. Below that, then we have sharing. So you could see we have different connections. We could add a connection. We're going to cover this in future episodes when I'm actually done processing an image and sharing to the web, as they say. Thank you everyone for watching my video series, Learn Lightroom CC. If you could do me a favor and like and share the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate that as well. Also, in the description below this video will be a link to my website. Come visit my website, onlinephotographytraining.com. There you'll find all kinds of free photography how-to articles and videos. I'll talk to you guys soon.